don't think they hear me though. Okay. Gentrify your own hood before these people do it. Claim eminent domain and have your people moving. That's a small glimpse into what Nipsey was doing. For anybody still confused as to what he was doing. The neighborhood designed to keep us trapped. They redlined it so property climbs if you live by blacks. They depress the asset and take the property back. It's a ruthless but a genius plan in fact. So now we fighting over scraps. Crabs in the barrel, but crabs don't belong in the barrel. They ain't never tell us that. So in the barrel, we gon' act like we act. We can easily get out the barrel if we stand on each other's back. Whoever gets on top, as long as they stay attached, they can pull everybody out. I was doing just that. I told neighborhood Nipsey, stay close. $100 million on your schedule, lay low. Tell your team to be on point in the places that they go. I never dreamed he'd get killed in the place that he called home. How we gonna get in power? We kill the source. But y'all like to run off on the plug, so of course. That ain't lit, that's a means to an end. Me and my team was playing the plug and had a plan. Sometimes we was only making 1,000 a joint. That ain't no money, but that ain't the point. So those 92 bricks was only 92,000. So y'all can close your mouth, it ain't nothing for y'all to wow. But it is something to study. We was chasing our goals, not chasing money. Niggas chasing hoes, we find that funny. I pull up in the roads, that hoe gon' want me. But I don't want no hoe, I want a wife. Somebody to bounce these ideas off at night. I be going to sleep hoping they'd visit me. That young king had a lot of jewels to split with me. And we ain't gotta leave the hood physically, but we gotta leave that shit mentally. Somehow, some way, I'm gonna make it up out the hood someday.
This is a Silk exclusive.
Welcome back to Words, Music, Dance. I'm your host as always, Paulie the Bull, no relation to Gavano. Took a couple weeks off. Did you miss me? I know you did, but you know, back to work, you know. And you know, of course, when gotta come back with a bang. So I got the homie Rel here.
Alright.
Welcome back.
No doubt.
You know, and you know, I mean, you already, everybody knows social media stuff. I put it in there, but
yeah.
You know where to find a couple of y'all.
I've been there a few times.
Yeah. You've seen him before. He'll
put it up though. He'll put it up.
Yeah. But I, like I said, I took a couple episodes off. But shout out to everybody watching on YouTube, everybody listening to all the podcast apps and stuff. You know, greatly appreciate y'all as always. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that, share it, let your friends know what's going on here. But the main reason I had to get Rel on here, Ava DuVernay just dropped her new Netflix special, When They See Us. Yeah. So for those that know, the last one she did on there was 13.
Yeah, the
13th Amendment.
Yeah.
Another one you should definitely watch.
Absolutely.
Ava's kind of got a trend here.
Yeah.
Of things that go on. We know some people won't like that, but hey, you know.
Yeah, if you don't like it, I'm not able to. Positivity.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? But you know, when they see us, just is chronicling the story of what some would call the Central Park Five. That's what their name was from the media. You know, the media always
they deem them
grouping names and give you something
nice moniker for them to live with for the rest of their life.
Right. But she kind of, you know, gave each one of them their name, gave each one of them their moment, let you see what they went through, who they are. And I, you know, we both were alive when it happened. Yeah. You were in Brooklyn still? Or?
Yeah. I was living in Brooklyn at that time. It would have been Crown Heights.
Okay.
So when that happened, that was basically that happened 5 days before my 10th birthday. That's how pretty much I was.
Okay.
That's where I was at that time.
And at that time I was 7. I turned 8 that December.
Okay.
So, you know, wasn't really out in the streets yet. But I was closer. I was actually lived in Spanish Harlem at the time. less than a mile away from where all these events took place at. But like I said, I was as aware as a 7-year-old would be to the story. My father's actually was a retired correction officer.
Okay.
So I got in-home training on how to deal with the police and things like that.
Right.
I saw the movie a little, I saw the news or the media, I would say, a little differently than most might have seen what was going on because, he was telling me, listen, if you do get arrested, which, you make sure we did, So kind of what most parents don't really think they have to say.
Right.
And you and I was talking about it earlier, 1989, New York City, totally different time from where we're at now. Times Square had peep shows, hookers on the corner. It wasn't a place to go visit. You know what I mean?
The city was still reeling from crack.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So totally different times.
Yeah.
And Central Park, specifically for people right there in that Harlem area, the Schomburg buildings right there, and a lot of the apartment and project buildings right there. Central Park is like us inner city kids' backyard. We didn't grow up with a house with a backyard and a picket fence. Central Park was kind of the the go-to spot for the green grass. We want to have a picnic, camp out, throw the football, play some football, what I mean? Lay out, we didn't have a beach near us. There's no beach really there, over there. So Central Park was the go-to. And for these gentlemen, for kids, that's not, these kids at the time, there was a party in the Schomburg, apartment complex over there. They most of them left from over there and ended up in Central Park, where was a natural thing. It's normal. Yeah. We in the park is we just chilling. We just in the park. It's trees and it's green trees and you're just chilling. It wasn't anything specific, but unfortunately there were other events going on at the time. So some of the kids were what they said in the movie wilding out. Right. That's what the term I guess became kind of famous from. Right. Shout out to Nick Cannon. Right. But they was in the park wilding. The lady was like, "What's wilding?" Yeah. with the G. But they were wilding. Some hitting people, robbing people. Yeah. And also, which they also pinpointed in the movie. Not even near where this was going on because it was more on the west side, upper west side area of Central Park. Because she came in jogging, one was jogging around 80-something street, came in and unfortunately became a rape victim. Right. And again, what I knew going into watching this was this is around the time when Central Park kind of got shut down. Because like I said, we used to go there for fun and all that. And around this time, you couldn't be in Central Park after dark. Okay. You really couldn't be out for a good period of time because there were mass rapes in the park. A lot of joggers were told not to be in there. Kids was of course it was kind of like curfew kind of set during that time period. Right. And this was when they were kind of cracking down on the New York City crime. Turned from 89 to 90s, we were going to the 90s, and this is when they were trying to clean up the city, as they put it. Right. We all know who the focal point of who they clean up was. Absolutely. But this movie, docuseries, whatever you want to call it, starts with that, and it's broken up into 4 parts. So part 1 was kind of that, it was the incident itself, and like I said, we lived it, but I was unaware that they didn't even really know each other. Right. So that was enlightening to me that the kids didn't even know each other. Only 2 of them knew each other. Right. Out of the 5, and there were actually more that were arrested, but they were let go. They may not have confessed, or they may other reasons, what have you. But they tied these boys together, and part 1 shows how they kind of linked them together. There was a list. They were profiled, so they knew who to go get. And they were interrogating the boys, most of them without a parental figure in there, and no legal representation. Right,
and in the one that did have the parent there, the parent was basically coerced or so they suggested that she take a break or she go somewhere.
Right. So Raymond's father was there, played by John Leguizamo,
but he had to go to work. His mother there.
Right. So he left his mom there, who mostly spoke Spanish, didn't really speak English too much. So she's just sitting there. She's unaware of what's really going on and what shouldn't be going on. Yeah. And one of the cops actually spoke Spanish, asked her, "Do you want to step outside, get some coffee, whatever?" She's like, "Yes," because I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, exactly.
So they walk her out, and they commenced the good cop, bad cop, and putting the pressure on him. And like I said, John Leguizamo, the father, he left.
Yeah.
I believe it was Antron's father was there.
Yeah.
But he had warrants, and the cops looked up his information and kind of put the pressure on him. So you're like, listen, we can pull up some stuff on you, unless you tell
and
you.
pretty much got him to get his son to do what they wanted him to do, which was sad in itself because it was like Dad, you're putting this, you're putting this on me. You know what I'm saying? You're having me confess to this. I mean, and I'm sure he would say it's, out of love, and he, he's trying to get his son home.
Right.
But you would feel like somebody in his position should know better than that. I mean, you're the adult,
right,
whatever the case may be. But I think that's what happened as you go on to see during as the years go by, and after he gets out, that resentment he has toward his father.
Right.
Because one, Dad, you got me here. Secondly, when I'm going through what I'm going, Dad is not even going to the court days.
Right.
He's like doing it. So it's like you put me here, and like you my father, you supposed to stand up to him and say, nah, y'all can't treat my son like this. Y'all got to, as opposed instead of that, they like you said, they put the pressure on him about his words and stuff, and him. Because he just spoke to him like, way he works and all that, so that kind of put that cloud, like, you can lose your job, or he's worrying about that. So now he's thinking about, okay, now I'm gonna have this providing for my family. So not only I might have that, then I gotta get my son home. So then that all turns into him putting that pressure on his son.
A lot of pressure put on both of them.
Exactly to do that, but it just sucks that. He felt the need to do that to his son. Or at least the rest of them, it wasn't the guardian that's supposed to protect them. Having those efforts, right? Put on them, to confess. Nobody else's mother or guardian was like, yeah, tell them that you did it. Like he's the only one that had to go through that.
Right.
So that was really horrible.
Yusef's mom was the only one really that was like, listen.
Right. This is incorrect.
Right.
Y'all can't do that. Y'all can't talk to him. Can't talk to him without me being there. Right, exactly.
So she came and kind of got him. Before he could sign anything or say anything to incriminate himself. And then unfortunately, Yusef's friend, Corey, the only reason he ended up even down there was because the next day when they came to get Yusef, Corey was there with him or whatever, and
the cop asked him, hey, do you want to come down, just be with your buddy? And, and then Corey told him, like, yeah, well, if I don't go, your mom will kill me anyway, so I'll go. And Corey's name wasn't even on the list. They weren't even picking, they weren't going to pick him up. Right. He was going to just
Nobody
go on
profiled him. He wasn't seen during any of the situations.
But to hold his man down, he goes down there and then basically ends up getting it worse than the other four kids.
So that was pretty much like, episode 1. They basically doing that. That was pretty much the gist of it. That was them.
Yeah, it was basically showing like who they were. Show the nights of events, and then the whole coercion and confession, and
So then part 2 was more so on the legal side.
Right.
Once so basically to go back real quick to part 1, they got basically they kind of fed each one of them information.
Exactly.
They mentioned names that the kids didn't. Who is this person? And so they basically was like, yo, talking to me, Rel said you did it. And it's like, I don't even know Rel.
Exactly.
And then talking to you, well, Paul said you did it. And he like, who's Paul?
And they're hearing these names. Nobody know who these names. And remember, they never said Corey's name.
Right.
Like, like Corey, and because I guess they figured they wouldn't have anyway, because you wouldn't need to, because Yusef knows Corey's only down here.
Right. So he didn't.
Because Corey wasn't even getting interrogated at first.
Right.
Corey, he was really there chilling on the side, waiting for Yusef to be done or whatever. So they knew there was no reason to bring Corey's name up. But they're naming these, Tronny. You're the Tronny did this, and who's Tronny? And then eventually gets to Tronny did that, right? Because and then Raymond said that it was you, right? So then now it's like, okay, but the whole point was You tell these boys, you do this, you get to go home.
Right.
And these kids, they 15 years old, they in this precinct, they getting grilled, hammered bodies. I gotta get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like so you said this is what I gotta do?
Right.
Like and I get to go home.
And if I don't know this person,
who
I don't
cares?
feel bad
Exactly.
saying, yeah, he did.
I don't know Raymond. Yeah, it was Raymond that did it.
Right.
Whatever. Like you know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna see Raymond. Raymond probably gonna go to jail. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna see
You
Raymond.
telling me I'm going home.
Right,
so,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's basically how. And then so you got these people corroborating these stories, but like you said, it goes to the legal side. And what killed me most about the legal side was there's a lot of people right now who are in jail who didn't do anything. I mean, this is probably a small ratio versus who actually did.
Right.
But
all of them would say they didn't do it.
of course. But here's my thing. So sometimes there could be a frame job with somebody who really knows what they're doing. So I'll know, like, okay, I'll do something, but I need to make it look like you did it. And if I'm good at what I do, then I can do that. Because then the circumstantial, the forensic evidence, the hard, it'll really point to you. And you really wouldn't have done it.
Right.
But to any jury, to prosecutors, to law detectives, it's all pointing at you, and it sucks.
Right.
But a jury is good, like, and they're gonna be able to prove the case. Jury's gonna hand down a guilty verdict, and you'll be convicted and sentenced. But in this situation, it was like, come on. So you get in these stories that are obviously coerced, and let's say you prove it wasn't coerced. These things that these people they're saying they did it, they saying they did it somewhere else.
Right.
Like the rape actually happened here.
Right.
They said it happened there. If I did it, I might be off by a few feet or area, but a whole nother side.
Right.
Like I mean, like I'm gonna tell you that I was that. I was. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, like.
And what they basically got them all on was kind of so they got them all to basically admit to witnessing the crime for the most part.
Yeah.
None of them really was
Said that they
did it.
They're right, yeah.
It was like
until Corey.
Right.
Until
he himself said that he touched her.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah. The rest of them said they watched somebody do something, and you know.
So they basically got them. They found them guilty on being witness to it. So it was like sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
Sexual. Deviance. Like it was like lesser charges and things. And unfortunately, Corey was 16 at the time.
But
and
he got.
They tried him as,
I think he got sexual assault.
I think he got sexual assault.
Yeah,
Because
I know he beat the rape.
Right.
So the rape charge he beat.
Right. None of them got a rape charge.
Yeah. It was 2 charges he beat.
Yeah.
But then he got the assault, and then he got banged for 2.
Right.
And so it's.
And he was tried as an adult.
An adult as well.
So
right,
the whole time, Yusef was bailed out. His mom bailed him out, and
Tron got bailed out too. Yeah.
The other two was in holding, and Corey, because he was being tried as an adult, went straight to Rikers.
Yeah.
So he never even went back home after he went down to hold his man's down.
He never went back home. Yeah.
So that changed his life.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Yeah.
And that was how the case went in part 2. So part 3 they kind of fast forward to basically.
And they will. I mean, I guess when the 3 of them came, the 4 of them came home. I guess that was parole, or was it the end of their sentence?
It was both. So they all did different times.
Yeah.
Also because of like Yusef, I think got out the earnest because he never said he did anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they got him mainly just for being around.
Yeah.
I think he only did, I believe, 8 or 9 years. I think it was. I think he did like the least. So they all had different times because it was like different charges.
Exactly.
And he was the only one that never signed any and admitting the conviction.
Yeah.
And they had like the videos of what they said or whatever, but they just kind of tied him into it, so he got like a less charge. He got like a small sentence. So it might have been like parole. Some of them might have got the time served. I'm not too familiar with the legal system to know exactly what the laws and things are, but they all did different times and such. And part 3 was a very important, it kind of took on a bigger role than just their story. It was kind of the legal system in itself and how even when you do serve time, whether parole or fully complete your sentence, there's the life after that is just as difficult.
Right.
You know, you're not behind the bars, you're not confined to the walls,
but you're
confined to invisible walls of paperwork now that you got to fill out when you're applying for jobs, and who you can be seen with and can't be seen with, and you have a curfew now,
right?
And you know, and
it's basically, I mean, it's set up for you to fail.
Right.
It's not, you know, it's set up for you to live an uncomfortable life. And I was just thinking about this the other day. When you look at these felons, you know, felons come home, they can't vote. Right, so they, you know, they can't. There's a lot of things they can't do, but they can't vote. They can't do things to impact their community positively. So they just leave it so that you can impact your community negatively. So you know, we these people commit these crimes. In this case, don't commit any crimes. Go to jail, come out, and now they want you to be a productive member of society. But due to the connotation of being in jail, they know that it's going to be hard for you to do so. So, you know, you want to get certain jobs, it's frowned upon because there's certain jobs you can't even apply for. Right. So, like, you're ineligible for. So, you know, I've been wanted to get some sort of license. I forgot what it was, to do something, and it was like, you can't even get that because you were, you know, because you had a felony or whatever. So it cuts down on, you know, where you can work and all of that. And they supposedly have these, you know, they have these programs, you know, for that, but they really don't help you, or it doesn't help you get a job that you really can sustain.
So they showed, I believe it was Shawn and Youssef met up. And they went to like one of those programs.
Yeah, exactly.
But they wanted your first step is to admit to your crime.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
and they were like, we didn't do it.
Right.
You know, they were still standing by.
And that's a major point. This is supposed to be a core program to help, you know, get me back ingratiated into society and doing that. But the first thing you want me to do is express remorse for what I did. Right. But I didn't do nothing.
I didn't do it.
So, but my thing is, let's say I did do it, right? I'm home now.
Right.
I'm trying to live my life. What you need me to tell you I feel remorseful?
Right.
That got nothing to do with you.
Because I served my time.
Right. No matter, I don't have to, let's say I don't feel sorry for what I did.
Right.
But I took the punishment because that's what comes along with it. Now I'm home. And I'm trying to live. So I gotta appease you by saying, yeah, so that you'll help me. Right. Yeah, I feel bad. Right. I said, nah, that shouldn't be a requirement. Right. This is another obstacle to put, because now you're just trying to make me struggle within myself. Right. Because let's say I don't feel that way, right? So now I'm building resentment toward, you know, this process now. You know what I'm saying? A good way for me to say, you know what? Forget it, I ain't doing it. Right. That's another way to just segue me back into what I was doing before. Like, nah, you want me to do all this? And nah, you know what? It's easy if I just go rob some more people. Right. Yeah. Like, you know, I know I'm good at that. I got slipped up one time and got caught.
And then specifically in part 3, we follow Raymond's situation where he's talking to the parole officer and he's, you know, helping him. He's telling him, look, when you apply for jobs, you got to make sure you check these boxes. Right. So you got to put, you know, it asks you, are you a sex offender? You got to check yes. Are you a felon? Yes. You know, so on and so forth. And then he tells him, he's like, you see that gentleman behind the counter right there? He too is a felon. And even if your employer makes the mistake of scheduling you two guys together, you go right back to jail.
But see, he was saying that in response to checking that box. Yeah. Because he was saying, like, hey, let's say if you don't check that box, and then you get scheduled with dude, then, you know, now you're in the presence of a felon, and then, but then he told him, okay, when you do check it, now this, so it's like, it's a catch-22, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and it's like you have no wins, but this is where you are, but, you know, and that's why with the prison system, it's not set for. Honestly, they should just call jail what it is. This is how you punish people who you feel deserve that punishment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not for people to rehabilitate. So they're not looking at for somebody who was, let's say, he killed 3 people, right? And he wasn't sentenced to death, but he got a whole bunch of years or whatever. Let's say he did this when he was 16. They gave him a whole bunch of years. He's eligible for parole when he's 55, right? So that point in jail is not for him to realize, hey, I can be a better person and and do this, and when I want to learn this stuff while I'm in jail and become someone who could. Nah, that's not what jail's for. Because then now when I do all that, right, when I do behave properly, when I do learn things, when I pick up a trade or I learn and I read them, and I do it and I come out and I'm ready to do this. Now there's 19 walls of obstacles in front of me. Y'all don't want me. Like, cause I mean, at the end of the day, like let's say I was a bank robber. I robbed the bank, right? I got, and let's say I did it with a weapon. So I got felony charges on armed robbery or whatever the case may be. I go to jail for that. I come out. Yeah, you can say it's more likely for you to rob a bank than someone who hasn't. Yeah, I can see that because I've done it. So at least you watching someone else. You say, hey, I don't put it past nobody, but there's nothing that says he'd do that. Right. Yeah, there's something that specifically says I'll do that because you've seen me do it. However, you said if you do this, the consequence is this. Okay, so I did that. Right. I did. You said I had to stay here, away from my family, away from freedom, away from everything dictated what I could do. As a punishment, it's what I did. You said that's what I do. But I did that. So now I can't live now. Though. Right. Like I can't live. I can't go apply for any job. Right. No matter what I learned within there, but no matter what I turned around, still that's on me. Like you did that, so now suffer. And like you said too. There's so much that they can't do. You can't vote for certain. You can't vote. You can't own a gun. You can't. Certain constitutional rights are removed from you again. And it's like, but I served my time. What does that have to do with me not being able to vote? Like what? It's like 100 code. But now you're saying, oh, you're a felon. You can't vote. Like why is my vote as a felon? Why does it not count? Yeah. If I'm as educated, if I educate myself on the issues, on the candidates, on all of that, but did me being in jail have to do with my opinion on that? Right. Because I went to jail means that my opinion doesn't matter. Right. Like it doesn't. and here's this. And think about you can't be around felons, right? Let's say you go to jail, you're a felon, you come out, and let's say I did the same thing. We don't know each other, our crimes are unrelated. Let's say I got out of jail though about 5 years before you, right? Who better to tell you about what you need to be doing now that you're reacclimated and right? Who better? Right? Yeah, anybody could suddenly kick shit to you. But you might be like, yeah, I get it, but you don't know what this life is like. Right. You telling me I should just do this and that and that. You don't know what it's like. Right. Yeah, you deal with people like me all the time, but you've never been me. And it's like, never been, it's like you're saying, oh, but if two felons got together, they're gonna conspire to do something again. you know what I mean? If I wanted to conspire, I don't need this felon. Right. I got all the people that I know. I don't have to exactly. But my thing is, again, you just making it harder. Because it's funny. Every other support group, though, people of like minds and like experiences, right? You want to get them together. You want to get, and again, and I don't say these people shouldn't be together, right? But you have like groups of battered wives, and for kids that are bullied, and you want to put these people to share experiences. But I can't share my experiences with the only time I see that's even allowed is when there's a celebrity, when it's like T.I. or something, he gets to go to a prison and talk to people stuff like that. But if I'm just a felon that's now I'm doing my thing, I can't, like, for instance, my barber is somebody who has done fed time on a felony or whatever, and he's turned his life around, and now he's on the straight. Now he's doing what he needs to do. Yeah, doing what he needs to do. I think he could drop a lot of gems for people who are thinking of doing what he was into or already have, but now they're coming out and trying to figure out a way to not get back into that. Right. He picked up a trade. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But instead, you want to separate those people out of fear of look. I would love to see a study on what the percentage of or how the probability has been lowered for criminal acts because you don't allow these people to right. Like, what are your projections if you lifted that? How much crime would rise?
Right.
Like, oh, he's a drug dealer, and so is he, and they probably won't sell drugs again as long as you keep them away from each other. You know what I mean? Like I don't even see how that even.
But what they showed in part 3 was Raymond unfortunately did go back.
Absolutely.
And that could speak to your point too of, you know, and you can look at it twofold. Some would say, you know, it's because of the hurdles that he had to, you know, deal with of trying to apply for a job and how he's seen and how he's perceived because of what he's, you know, went through.
Yeah.
And his thought was, I need some money. He had a girl who he was talking through like a pen pal while he was in jail. He ended up linking up with her. But he comes back home. His father now has a new wife. They have a child together, and her whole family kind of moved in and there. And he's feeling like I just came out of prison. Like I would like to be alone and have some quiet time.
Sure.
And, you know what I mean? So he's like, all right, me and Shorty, you know, she comes up like, yo, we should get our own place. And all of that compounded, he ends up turning to the local drug dealers and getting into, you know, working with them. Again, not condoning it, but the chances of someone doing that are likely to happen when he can't get a regular job. You know, if you tell me
the system is built for them to recidivize, for them to go back in, because at the end of the day, if it wasn't, then all these restrictions wouldn't be there. You know, you said if I do this crime, I have to do this time. So after I do this time, how you not letting me live still? I don't understand. Like what you. Now certain things I think would, like, you know, certain situations I could see where that might come into play. So for instance, let's say if I was a child molester, I can't be 100% mad at you telling me I can't work at a school.
I can't work at daycare.
Even if I've turned my life around or whatever, those type of urges, I think that's a sticky area, especially when you're dealing with people who really can't defend themselves, or, you know, stuff like that. So, but I mean, the things that I mean, just the perception. You doing a job, you're a hiring manager, and you see somebody checked off. All right, that perception is like, oh, it's like it's ridiculous.
And it doesn't go into specifics. It doesn't say, well, I wasn't, you know, I wasn't charged for rape. I was charged for witnessing sexual misconduct.
No, it just wants to know, were you convicted?
Right.
That's,
you know, that's what I'm saying.
That's
like,
all it wants to know.
So
were
somebody
you
hiring is not they're gonna assume the worst.
He's a rapist. They want to know. They don't even want to know if you did anything.
Right.
They just want to know if you were convicted.
Exactly.
Like so it's not, hey, did you actually rape anyone?
Right.
Was a lawyer able to prove beyond present a case whether that case had facts in it or not? Whether they were good enough to present a case, spin all the information to prove beyond, so for what that jury felt was beyond a reasonable doubt that you committed a crime. Not did you do it, but were you convicted of it? So
they're not going to ask you. You had a civil servant lawyer.
They don't care about none of that.
Don't care about none of that. That checkbox.
Were you convicted? So yeah, that's why Raymond goes. He comes back, and then he goes right back in. You know, and again, everybody has a choice. So again, like you, I mean, neither one of us have been in jail, but neither one of us have come from a lot of money and come from neighborhoods where it's rough or whatever. But neither one of us have turned to a life of crime or whatever the case may be. So it's not like everybody that the only way anybody can survive is that. But however, that we also, and I'm gonna speak for me because I don't know for you. I also didn't grow up feeling like I don't have the things I need. I don't know the life, and there's people that grew up like this. I don't know the life of not knowing whether I'm gonna have dinner that night, or whether when it's my birthday, am I gonna get a birthday present, or like, you know, like my parents, you know, I was never rich, but they provided for me. But I had friends who had a lot less.
Yes,
and there's neighborhoods full of people like that.
Agreed.
So when you think what is a choice doesn't really look like a choice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When it's like, okay, I've been trying to do all this and I can't feed my babies. I can't this. So then when you have the white people bring this drug product to you and say, look,
which is always the forgotten piece of how
right, exactly, right, yeah, right. Hey, you know what? Take this and you sell this, and you could make some money. And then it gets put into practice. Now you see, so then again, these kids come up, they see the guys who go to work every day. They see the guys who come and they leave early in the morning, they see them come home from work, and these people still have nothing. So they said, I could go in the street and I could work hard and work hard to have nothing.
Right.
Materialistic is wise, because I mean, those people have something, but I mean, like as far as like that. But the people that I see living comfortable, having the things, having the nice things, those are not those people I see going to work every day.
And the perfect example that speaks to that is the movie A Bronx Tale.
Yes,
it wasn't
absolutely.
black people.
It was right. That's yeah, exactly.
But Colodro seen his father,
absolutely, yeah.
And then he was also told by the guy in the streets that the working man is a sucker.
Is a sucker, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So and that's not so that's not a black thing.
Exactly, right, yeah.
That movie, shows you that even in the Italian community, whatever, in the Bronx, whatever have you, but in other lives as well.
It's a poverty thing.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. My father's working hard, and we're just getting this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This man has suits on every day.
Yeah,
the neighborhood respects him and looks up to him.
Absolutely,
and he's got nice cars, women, and my dad just complains every day because he's working and this and that. And that what life do I want? What life is the prettier life?
Right. So then it doesn't look like a choice anymore. Right. Now it's like, okay, I need to do that. DMX said, "I rob and I steal, not because I want to, because I have to." And there's people who say like, "Nah, this is what's left. Like this is what I got to do," and it becomes conditioned too. So like then it's like, okay, well, this is what everyone's doing.
Right.
So obviously, what Jay said. My brother hustles so naturally. Up next is me. What perplexes me is I know how this movie ends and stuff like what I'm saying. Like so, it's like this is the journey. This is the path. Like this is what we all show each other. So when you mix that with also feeling like not having a choice, then you build this system where you can just pick these guys off. You set the situation. Okay. Put him back in jail. Put him back, put him back in jail. But so then you get Raymond coming home, and again, Raymond is in jail for nothing. Raymond is in there. He didn't do nothing. You made him do all this. He comes home now, still never did nothing. Now he has to live the life of an ex-felon. Can't do these things and never did nothing. So now he's like, you know what? All that's left of me, I gotta get out of the situation.
Right.
I see these kids on the block, they getting it. And how can I be down?
Another thing too is they also show what the parents went through. Yeah. Because that's like the kind of the forgotten piece of which again why it wasn't just called Central Park 5, because the parents had to, while they were in there, deal with the collect calls being like $20-something for 10 minutes. Trying to put some money in their books to get some snacks or something and some toilet paper, and things like that. That cost money. So there was a struggle amongst that, and then we also found out that Tron's father felt the resentment of telling his son to, to just go along with whatever they're saying, and him not showing up to court except for the one time he went, which they kind of played him against himself and what he said and what he did, and he telling him to lie, so is he a liar? So the time, like I said, to fast forward between part 2 and part 3. You find out that the parents also had to deal with that.
Absolutely.
So the system itself is not just who goes into prison.
It's everybody related,
family is also affected
David's
for all these years.
I remember the part where Kevin, when they came to visit him, and his sister was telling a story about how she met the dude. Then the dude came through to her rental car joint when she worked, and she really liked him or whatever, and they started vibing when he went to give the car back, and then he liked her, asked her out, and she dubbed the dude, and she said it's because look, I feel like it's my fault. You in here, I can't be out here having fun.
She's like I can't live a happy life. You're in here. That it's so much more than just my little brother's in jail. But I'm about to get out here and get married.
Exactly.
She's still thinking about him.
It's like I don't deserve this. Right.
So it's just so much that plays a part of the situation. It's just so much more to it than just
absolutely.
And that's and I said that was very, important to show because it's not just their lives were affected. They were children,
Sure.
but the families, sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers were also affected. And like I said, not to pity myself, but living in that area, times changed. New York City changed. That moment in time, Donald Trump was involved. He put out ads in newspapers wanting the death penalty back, and calling them, savages, and, heathens, and they need to get.
How often was Shorty, the one who's now getting dropped from her businesses? The
DA.
What's her last name? Linda something.
Feinstein.
Yeah. So as much she called them animals so many times. I'm gonna tell you, watching I'll just say this. I think it's something that everybody should watch.
For sure.
But you have to be emotionally ready to watch
yes.
it. And because I was so unfamiliar with a lot of the details, once I saw the trailer for it, I'm like, oh, cool. Now I'm going to get to see it. Because I remember it happening, but I didn't really know how heavy it was.
Right.
And I watched the first episode. I don't know. Had I known what was in that episode, I wouldn't have chose to do it how I did it. I watched the first episode on the way home from work on my phone. I did the little download thing.
Right.
Yo, when I'm talking about seething anger, I'm on a train. I'm making noises. I'm still like, yo. I'm sitting there like, yo, and I know people looking like, yo, what's the matter with this dude?
Right.
But I was so angry at what I was watching. It was I think the thing that made me the most angry is it's really happened.
Right.
I think if it was a movie, it still would have made me angry.
Right.
But this stuff actually happened.
Even if it was a movie, you would say, I know someone who went through it or heard about it.
Right, exactly.
But the fact that it was the actual
really happened to people. Right, exactly. And and I mean, so the 2, 3, and 4, they weren't as hard to watch, but it was still emotional though. But that first, the way they coerced them kids and the way I just was like, yeah, how could y'all do that to me?
Right. Well, part 4, so we can get into that now. Part 4 primarily focused on Corey and what he went through. So, like we said earlier, he only went, to the precinct because he was holding his mans down. Yeah. He was sitting. We found out that he was sitting there waiting for a day or so before they even came to get him, and then they said,
but they only got him because they needed someone. They said
he could be the glue,
right? Because everybody else they telling the conflicting stories, and they're like, nah, he's gonna be the one that tied it together.
So they got him to be the piece to tie it all up. And they got him to say he and you can tell by the wording because he even said this was my first. What he said, major.
He's my first time I did something with a female.
But he said a specific wording too. He was like, it's my first major crime or something. He said something that seems very. Official. Yeah. Whereas, a 16-year-old wouldn't call it that.
Right.
He'd have just said it's my first rape. But he said it was my first major. So I forgot how he worded it. Right. But if you watch it again, you'll see he said it how a professional. So you could kind of tell it was fed to him. And you can watch the tape. I think the tapes were put on YouTube. And they might have pulled them, but they have released some excerpts from it because the news re-showed it and stuff again.
Right.
However, episode 4 starts with with that. And what Corey went through. So he was, like I said, tried as an adult. He was held at Rikers. So while the other 4 were together, while they were holding them at that point, before they got bailed out, he was in Rikers. He was by himself with grown men,
getting brutalized.
And they show when he first goes to Attica or whatever, and the CO is gives him some innuendo yo, you gonna take care of me?
Yeah.
And he's clueless.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
What do you mean take care of you?
Right.
He's take care of me. And
he said, let me know what you can do for me.
What you can do for me, right.
And he's like, well, yo,
and that could be sexual. He could use it for his commissary to get some stuff.
Exactly.
But it's either way, he's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then that same CO allowed some 2 other inmates to have their way with him. Yeah. They show him get brutally beat up, thrown in the room. Yeah. You can imagine what happened.
And then we got beat up the second time. He almost half died.
He got stabbed up.
It's crazy.
And it was
putting himself in solitary,
right? Because
just to stay home.
The only good thing that same CO told him was don't go to the infirmary,
right? Because that's where snitches go. Right? Yeah.
And when you come back from infirmary, they're gonna look at you a certain way, you told them what happened. Yeah. Because you're gonna tell them what hurts.
Exactly.
Who did this?
Yeah.
So he's like, no, put me in solitary.
Right.
He ends up, getting transferred, and another CO actually did look out for him.
And the thing is, he kept transferring to be close to his mom, and then he just get further.
Right.
Like every time they did it,
there when he was with that CEO, he was straight.
Yeah.
But he's like, now I'm putting in for a transfer. He looking at him like, but I'm looking out for you. Like, I'm actually one of the few that are trying to help.
Trying to get close to his mom. But every time they got further away.
Right. And again, speaking to how much his mom had to pay to get up there, the time it takes to get up there. So again, the toll is taken on her. His mind isn't, this cop is actually looking out for me. His mind is, but it takes my mom 3 hours and such and such amount of money to get here. If I can get close, and he's telling him like, dude, you just put in a transfer. They can throw you wherever.
Right. He said,
you don't know where you're going.
Right. You can't pick. Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, his mindset was still, but my mom. And that speaks to the person he is. Like, and that's I'd have been like, yo, mom, you got to make it up here. But this cop is looking out for me. I'm safe here. I'm safer than anywhere else, and I don't want to take that chance.
And you would think too that that's how I don't know how much they were communicating or what they really spoke about, because I would think that a parent would say, "Yo, really, this dude he looks out like you know what? Then I'll do what I can or whatever. You can't move. Like
right.
He's
because I know that's what I would have said. I would be like, stay there.
Yeah.
Because you from there, stay there.
So that leads me to believe maybe they weren't sharing all that, or
I mean, because he probably didn't want to tell her none of the bad,
right?
So then he can't say he's protecting me from what happened before,
right? Exactly.
So, right? Because then she could be like, "What happened before?"
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you, mom. Don't worry. So he might not want to give her too much information. So you know what I mean. So that's a possibility. You know what I mean. But in a weird chain of events, he ends up bumping into twice the actual person who committed the rapes and many other ones that were also going on, because there was a point where jogging in Central Park was like outlawed because there was mass rapes going on at the same time, and you come to find out it was one person that was doing them all, and they never even with this situation looked to say, well, maybe it might have been connection to these other ones that were going on prior and after,
Yeah.
And they just focused on it being these guys, these kids, for this one.
And what I don't understand is Fair State, she was really trying to sell this like we owe it to this.
Right. But it was an example. They would make it, they would say, this case here, see, is 5 kids. They're wilding in the park. They're animals. They all, and if you notice,
never presented anything that was solid that said that they were connected to it. Or she was like, they were in there. How could they not have been involved? And what kind of prosecution is that? What kind of detective work is that? They were there.
Do you remember, what was it? Was it Mel Gibson when he screamed on his wife?
The following audio clips contain offensive language and are not suitable for young audiences and work environments.
I don't work around in tight clothes. I stay at home for most of the time.
You go out in public and it's a fucking embarrassment to me. You look like a fucking bitch on heat. And if you get raped by a pack of niggers, it'll be your fault. All right?
That whole pack of and rape, that story is where it kind of, because that's the one I can think of where a group of people were, and so this story, like I said, this is a benchmark in time.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't even realize that it connects to, because like I said, the laws and things, the street itself changed. Time, that is a turning point in, like I said, I can speak to that much, because that the neighborhood, a lot of things was what can't be done now. We can't go in the park as freely as we want to. We can't really hang out like that, and you look down upon when there's a bunch of us together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it kind of ties back to and stuff. And but like we were saying, the actual rapist got a life sentence because they got him on a bunch of other charges.
Right.
And he found God during his time in jail, and he wanted to, repent. So he found out, he was like, Corey, you're Corey Wise, you wanted,
Because then he had a little scuffle at first.
Right, and
because at a different facility.
Yeah, it was a different facility. Yeah. So again, the chance encounter.
Yeah,
you find out, and also you find out that this dude been telling them for the longest, like, yo, I did that too. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Right. Then he saw Corey, he's like, yo, I did what they're accusing you of.
Right.
And Corey like, well, tell somebody. He's like, I've been trying to tell him. And he told, and the movie kind of just says he told him, and then it kind of got out, but it took time still. He really had to and they did lie detector tests, they did the DNA stuff again, and they said they found out
It's Max.
It is him.
Right.
And Feinstein and others were still saying,
no, they to this
he's
day,
the sixth person.
They say right. He's just
that got away.
He was there too. That's
he was
it.
there too.
Right.
And it's like, and they're still holding on to that. Trump's still holding on to that.
But my thing is, how can you hold on to that? The confessions were the details they got were so off.
Right. He was telling them stuff that they didn't even know. He actually told them where other bodies that were cold cases. He was like, listen, there's another woman that y'all haven't said yet. Look behind the rock. You go into like 86th Street entrance, and there's a rock, 3 trees to the left.
Right.
You're gonna find a body there. And they like, oh, okay, that's another. So he's telling them stuff that nobody knew.
From an detective standpoint, a forensic standpoint, none of the stuff they said stuck. And they knew it. And so it's like, how could you? Like, yo, if you was wrong, you was wrong. Like, because, even though there should be some charges that could come upon you from doing that, but there aren't.
Yeah.
So you could be like, I was wrong. And they'd be like, they'd be like, shame on you.
Right.
But you get to go home and live the rest of your life or whatever.
So just imagine Trump wanted the death penalty.
To kill these kids.
To kill them for something that they didn't do.
Now, what it looks like, and this still is not the point, because normally you get put on death row, it takes mad long for you to die. So, the way it looks, if the word would have came out before they really died, but you know what I'm saying?
Right,
but
it was 2002, so we're talking about 13, 14 years later.
Right.
And I mean, at that point, Corey was the last one still in. Raymond went back in.
Yeah.
But Corey was the only one still in from the initial charge because he was an adult and the charge that he had on.
So, like, a lot of them, and probably all of them, what happened probably still what happened, and neither. But that's not the point, though. You wanted that to be their punishment. And on top of that, they didn't even kill nobody.
Right.
Like you should die. And you didn't even commit a death. Like you didn't even.
And that's all because they were trying to make an example.
Right.
It was like
of kids.
This woman was brutally raped, and people are in fear, and so let's say they did it, and we're cracking down on it. And that's it. It was like, this is the case that's going to make the example of, we're fixing the streets and we're making it safer and
Right.
And that's what it was all about. So Trump at the time was just a billionaire, real estate dude. And there's a scene in the movie where I forgot who the mother and the sisters was watching Trump on TV, and she was like, "Don't worry about it. His 15 minutes of fame will be up." And you fast forward to 30 years later.
When I was watching that, I was like,
he's the president of the United States, and it's just like, and again, we don't know if that conversation actually went that way.
Yeah,
but putting that in the movie, right? But putting it in the movie, you just like, because a lot of people felt New Yorkers know Trump,
right?
We knew Trump already. His buildings all around, so we saw him already.
That's why it was more outrageous when he became president,
right? Because
we have that firsthand, like it's like, this dude, really?
Right. We knew of his past and his father's past a little bit before it really, but it wasn't a threat. It wasn't scary as it is him to become president.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, well, he just putting buildings up.
Yeah,
I can't afford to go to his buildings anyway.
Right. So
it was just like, whatever. But then you just like, we live in his country now. And so he makes it, MAGA country.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, this is totally different. Like, this is a different. So it's just,
that's still just weird to say. That President Donald Trump.
Yeah. So
wow.
Like I said, they eventually exonerated them of the charges and things, and they won $41 million combined, and it was based on time served.
Right, so because Corey got the most,
he got the most, right? So it was based on the time served, but you later find out that $41 million was broken down by 5, but it was also legal fees and other things so they really didn't see much, and there's no price you really can put on what the family and stuff went through. Trump's father got sick, and so much went on that you can't reverse.
Yeah.
So $41 million is like, okay,
That's why I feel there needs to be repercussions.
Yeah.
Again, like, if sometimes, which sucks when it results from innocent going to jail, but sometimes real honest mistakes can be made. So I think when you investigate what went down, is how that decision on the repercussions on somebody,
right,
with efforts leading to a wrongful conviction. This is one where the cops that involved in interrogations, Fairstein, the city attorney, the district attorney, they all need to be in jail.
And that $41 million was taxpayer money. It was not like the officers' pensions. It was not like
they should be feeling something because right now, even if they were remorseful, all they just be like, yo, my bad, y'all.
Right.
You telling these men who have mad years of their lives stolen from them,
their youth,
you take them,
they went
and
in
you just
14,
be like, yo,
15,
my bad, bro.
Right.
That's all they got to say. There's no repercussions for them. Again, if they really went through it and the evidence really looked like it was them, and I get it. Sometimes it just works out that way. I'm not saying somebody should go to jail for that, but when you are feeding people stuff, coercing confessions just to make an example out of people, nah, there's and again, like you said, there's no amount of money that can do that. But I mean, you got to do something.
Right.
I mean, I'm saying like it is what it is.
Their whole teenage years. I mean, Corey went in at 16, came out at 30. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't get the 20s.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah, a lot of them, some of them came out in their mid-20s, but they didn't get, high school, prom, graduation, go to college.
Absolutely.
They didn't, you know what I mean? Like, their youth is gone, you know, and there's no price you can put on that.
And the thing is, now they're still branded.
Yes.
And again,
right, because even though they're not checking those boxes,
right?
But and again, and I was going to ask you about the title of the movie, how when they see us,
right?
People will still see
that's why
them
that's why it's named that, because it's like it's as much as y'all know they didn't do it, you still look at them like these are still people who've been to jail,
right?
You still again, it's like. Then, if you listen to people like Fairstein, hey, just because he said he did it, that doesn't mean that you didn't do nothing.
Right.
That's still on them, and that's as big of an obstacle as as a lot of other things that are put in their way. But
she wrote books.
Yeah,
she wrote a book about the case. Then she wrote like some fictional stories, other legal things. So she got rich off of her name because again, like I said, there was an example made. So people looked at her like, good job.
Exactly.
You're helping crime in the city.
Absolutely.
And, you're doing a great. So because
of that, I'll definitely buy your book.
Right, and that's exactly. And then she was the head of a couple of nonprofit organizations. She recently stepped down. Yeah. Because what was me? People have been looking at her and calling her names and stuff. Oh, wonder what that's like. You know what I mean? So she had to step down from a couple of her positions.
I think it's a publisher. Somebody dropped her just recently too.
I believe there was mention of them. Mention of them saying they were going to drop it. Yeah. But again, I mean, 30 years later, is the book still selling? You know what I mean? Like, is it really hurting her now? She's rich. I know she's a millionaire, what have you. But she made what she was going to make off of that 30-year-old story.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's not like she's returning money or. If the book's still #1 bestseller, then I would say, okay, now y'all stop it. It's hurting her. But the books are now already old news. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, the title of it being "When They See Us," it's more, we all know who the they and the us are. But it's not just black kids because again Raymond was Puerto Rican, but it's also just
black too.
Right, that is true. But it's also like you said, no matter what, they were in prison, and even though they were exonerated of all their charges, they're still perceived and seen a certain way by some people. Yeah, and it's still ongoing. But so what
So my thing, like I said, is something that everybody needs to watch. Everyone, not just minorities. I think everybody needs to see it, especially for them to move on. Because again, like you said, some people are still going to look at them a certain way. But it is going to help for some people to see what happened, and I'm sure none of them want anybody walking around feeling sorry for them. Right, but. Now that perception, you can change that. Like, okay, you're not this rapist, or you're not this, and then and then also put some eyes on the justice system, the prison system, on how corrupt that is. I mean, there's been a lot of examples of that lately. Period. But again, that's just more visibility. I think visibility is key because before anybody revolutionary does anything, they have to be aware. So when they can have a picture of something, they can say, okay, well, that you never know who's that's going to motivate. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and again, and it's a really, really sad story. It's an anger-inducing story. But what I like though is that, you know, they're getting opportunities now. You know, they're on shows,
Right,
on
doing
interviews and stuff like that. Raymond has a clothing company, you know, out and stuff like that. So and one Yusuf is a doctor,
right
now. You know, like he's so I mean these all of them are working with different organizations doing so none of them are like, you know, leading miserable lives or anything like that.
And Corey still lives in the same area. I actually live in that area now as well.
Oh, okay.
Corey be around there. I've seen him a couple times. I knew him from somewhere.
Right.
And he's, I guess, like a hood celebrity kind of.
Right.
You know, but it also shows too. And if you see him, he's kind of mentally still stuck in the 90s. Right. He still has, you know, he's still like.
He's talking about the way he dresses,
right? You know what I'm saying? So his 16-year-old self is kind of living now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like
and like I said, none of them are living like these miserable lives, but they still have their stigma. And regardless of how good their lives are now, nobody deserves to have their whole youth stolen from them. And it was stolen. That's what it was. You know, like, and that's what it was stolen. So I mean, I think it was an excellent. The Ava DuVernay is ill. Period. Like watching the 13, that was one of the illest docs I ever watched ever. And the acting performances, and when they see it, like first of Corey, the dude is funny. Corey, his name is Jarrell, which I think is dope, but spelled different than mine.
Right.
But he captured that, like,
he played both the younger and the older version.
But when you watch Corey and you see him do interview talk, it's like, yo, you a picture like that's exactly how he would have been at 16 or whatever the case may be. So all the actors did a good job. Most of the actors that we knew already played secondary roles like parents or and stuff like that. So but the kids, the main characters were all pretty much new actors or whatever. And I hope this springboards them into doing, you know.
Well, because like you said, the actor who played Corey, he was also in Moonlight.
Yeah, I heard.
And that was kind of like he first kind of made a name for himself then. But with this one, he's really being spoken about. Yeah, you know, because like you said, if you watch the confession tapes and you watch the depiction that he did on it, it's very close. And the traumatic stuff that he went through in part 4 when he's like. He has a hallucination scene when he's talking to his girl, or when he's in solitaire, and it's just like he's like, you know, that's hard. He never did that himself. So to present that and do that and the stuff he went through, and it's like he killed it. I mean, he.
And the thing, if he would have stayed in the chicken spot with his shorty,
well, I mean, because it was the next day. When he went to the chicken spot was the night of, but it was the next day when he was out with. But if he would,
he would have. But then again, it don't matter,
right? Because he wasn't there that night.
And even though he went to the park, they still didn't listen.
He was like on the outskirts. He didn't go in all the way in yet. So when everybody started running, when shit started popping off, he was. So that's why nobody seen him. He was on the list, but it was just like But acting wise, I mean, the way it was presented. Like each part was broken down. I think it was very well done. Like I said, there's a few Hollywood like moments, which I kind of feel, you know, like I said, that line about Trump, or the scene when they were all four in the holding, and they were all like, "I told on you." He was like, "I told him." I don't think that, because if somebody said you told on me, I might have to hit you. I'm a little, I'm a little tired, but I might hit you.
He's also you're like, you're what's your name? I lied on you. Like. I mean, I could see that really happening too, but I mean, and too, man, you never know. Like in that situation, when you went through, you might not be ready to fight this dude for doing that. You just be like,
I'm saying they might have been exhausted from what they went through. But it just seemed like, I mean, like I said, I wasn't there, but it just seemed like that was just a little. It seemed like that might have been a little Hollywood, piece in it. But I mean, it did for the movie, for theatrical effect. It did like that was the first moment they met each other.
You're right,
because that's just to play back and let you know, like they didn't even know each other.
Right, yeah.
So that moment was.
That's why it was so easy to say everybody's name. Like, who did it? Yeah. okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why they understood, because like, I did the same thing you did.
Yeah,
I didn't know
exactly.
you, so I'm like,
Yeah.
if this gonna get me out, I'm gonna tell on you.
Absolutely.
And that's what they did. So, you know, but I mean, like Rel said, everyone should watch it.
Yeah.
Be prepared for it.
Right.
I mean,
Why? You know, like, you definitely need to set apart some time, but also prepare your mind for what you're about to see. Because if you just roll like me, I just went into it like, you know, whatever, and I'm just like,
I knew what to expect, and I still wasn't prepared because it's, you know, like I was telling you earlier, I was alive, I was aware, I was present in the time, but I was too young to really know all the specifics and details, and it's kind of rehashed, and it took me back to like, oh yeah, that's why such and such happened, or that's why this happened, and it also reminded me too about how back in 1989 and in the early 80s and 90s, how naive we were as teenagers compared to like teenagers of today, with the internet, social media, kids having phones now that are connected to everything, whereas back then it was pay phones and pagers. It's a different time. So the naivete of those kids to, you know, be in the interrogation room and for the cop to say, hey, listen, he's angry, but I'm gonna look out for you. Just tell us what we want. You know, that good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
You know, we trusted, you know, the police back then. Cops were our friend. Fireman was a hero, and that was what we were taught in school and stuff like that. Nowadays, kids see more on TV.
Absolutely.
With you know, what was it, 92 or 93 when Rodney King got beat up by a cop. That was like the first time people saw cops a little like, oh.
Yeah, when that type of brutality was.
Because we knew the stories of, what was the precinct in Brooklyn that had like the drug, what was the precinct, 76, something like that? It was like a big precinct that got shut down because there was a lot of stuff that internal affairs had to shut down in the precinct. Like, so we knew certain things happened in precincts, but it was like, that was within the precinct. Rodney King was the first time we seen cops do something to a civilian outside. It was like, oh, and people were like, that's what we've been trying to tell you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So back then there was an innocence to children to you know, listen, the cop is telling you just do what he says. You know, hey, or even Corey to be like, well, I'm just gonna go downtown with you and just wait for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I'm not coming down there. You know,
a kid today would never do that. A kid's like, yo, I'm gonna call your mom.
I'm gonna call your mom.
I'm gonna do such and such right.
Tell her where you at and she's gonna find you. I'm gonna go tell her right now. I'm not going down there.
I'm not just go there and sit there with you.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the back seat.
I need to get you some help. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it was like, that's what also what came back. I was like, yo, like that's. It was a different. It was 30 years ago. Yeah. But it was a different time. Like, life was different. Children were different. And you know what I'm saying? You say 14, 15, 16 years old. At 16, Corey was tried as an adult.
Yeah.
And
jail with grown ass men.
And he's a child. Like, it was like eye opening.
He's up there. He was food in there. Bro.
Yes, literally.
Like, I mean, you know, like, I mean, he's a kid.
Yeah.
Just turned 16.
So everybody watch it. You know what I mean? Like, give us your thoughts on it. I think Ava, you know, she did a good job of presenting it. The gentleman now older, and they all thanked her for, you know, bringing forth the story. There was a documentary on it before, but this is the first time it was in movie format and really played out scene for scene.
I think the other documentary was just like more informational.
Yeah, it didn't really, because like I said, like parts 3 and 4. Three specifically was when we got like the aftermath of coming out of prison, and that's the side that's never really touched on too much. It's like, oh,
that's just nobody cares.
They went to jail and then they got exonerated, and
nobody cares what the fight is like.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said that was very important to show what Raymond went through coming home and what they went through going to the meetings and hey, stand up and say you did it. Like, no, I didn't do it. I stand by that. Like, you know, even Corey when he was up for parole. Yeah, they like, listen.
Every time. That's why the last time he didn't even go. He was like, yo,
I'm not wasting my time. I know what they want me to say. I'm not saying it. Like, you know, but comment below. Let us know what you think about it. If you've seen it already, tell me when you watch it. You know, please watch it.
I'm looking for Ava to now. I know she's done these. I want Ava now to make some like these type of things, but on some like motion picture, like big stage, which. Obviously, it's going to be harder for her to do because you know they don't really like that type of story. You know, I'm sure they don't want her to do that on that stage. Even though, I mean, Netflix is just as visible to, you know. But I would love to see. But what I would need her to do though is, again, I'm sure now if it's a Hollywood studio that she has to go through to actually get it produced, then they might want to dilute her story. And then, you know, like, so, you know, little do I know that might be the reason why she hasn't gone that route, or you know, maybe she should try, you know. But she definitely needs to be lifted up from this and for this. And I definitely hope she continues telling our stories, making things visible to the injustices that you know, black and brown people go through every day.
I mean, before we go, I wanted to talk one more thing, you know, the title of the movie being, you know, When They See Us. And Biggie had a famous quote, you know, on the streets is a short stop. Either you sling a crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. And one of the best players we know with a jump shot was Michael Jordan. He became a billionaire, you know, in recent years. And one of the most famous crack rock dealers we know was Jay-Z, who changed his life, obviously. Has recently become became a certified a billionaire, we should say, from the Forbes you know, recent assessment, because some would say he's already been there, but there's also investments and other monies that they don't always know specifics on. And we know it's a dual income because, you know, his wife Beyonce got some money too. But you know, specific, you know, but officially he has been certified a billionaire. In all his endeavors and things that he went through. I'm not going to go through specifics of each company, but, you know, there's the liquors, there's Tidal.
You got Tidal. We got what I read on the article I read. What they threw into it was obviously all his businesses. So the Tidal, they threw his catalog in it. I guess he owns those masters or whatever. So his catalog, like $50 million in real estate. Obviously, you know, the Tidal, the Rock Nation Sports. He has $70 million in Uber, and they throw his art collection into it too. So when they put all that, it's over $1 billion.
Over $1 billion. So congratulations to him. First hip hop artist to do it. First person from hip hop, we should say in general. You know, Diddy was there. Diddy was right there. Dre was right there. Jay got to it first. That's a big deal. And like I said, also still, even to this day, though, people still say, well, he's a drug dealer. Or he's, you know, he's this, he's that. So I wanted to get your perspective on, like we were talking about it earlier, you know, like when Donald Sterling spoke about Magic Johnson. Or when, you know, even though millionaire, billionaire, how we're still perceived. And also I was thinking too, like, Chris Rock said it best when Chris Rock said,
in my neighborhood, there are 4 black people. Hundreds of houses, 4 black people. Who are these black people? Well, it's me, Mary J. Blige, Jay-Z, and Eddie Murphy. Only black people in the whole neighborhood. So let's break it down. Let's break it down. Me, I'm a decent comedian. I'm all right. Mary J. Blige, one of the greatest R&B singers to ever walk the earth. Jay-Z, one of the greatest rappers to ever live. Eddie Murphy, one of the funniest actors to ever do it. Do you know what the white man that lives next door to me does for a living? He's a fucking dentist. He ain't the best dentist in the world. He ain't going to the Dental Hall of Fame. He don't get plaques for getting rid of plaque. He's just a yank your tooth out dentist. See, the black man gotta fly to get something that the white man could walk to.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, that's the way, you know, the society set up. Period. Like we have to be, like, to get to regular, we have to be exceptional. But so if we're gonna get to $1 billion, you know, imagine how much further, you know, we're gonna have to go. I mean, I do think though it speaks to just his determination and his savvy and his spirit to. Again, I don't think the hustle mentality has ever left him. Just how he getting it changed. So, you know, like if you look at how everything went in his life, especially when it comes as far as the street to music transition, like when the math made sense is when he said, all right, I'm gonna just rap. It wasn't like, hey, I need to lean these drums alone and you know. He's like, I can make 40 off a brick, but one rhyme could beat that. So it's like, okay then, I could do this, and it's legal, and it's smoking what I'm making over here, and it's something that comes naturally easy to me.
Right.
Then then I'm gonna do that. But then once he's in there, it's like, oh, so wait, now doing this opens this up,
right,
and that up, and that up. Okay, now I'm getting all that. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to other artists, they just happy to be a rapper. Like, you know, I'm in the game, I'm making records,
or
I'm
they
doing
do
shows,
simple stuff. Like a lot of rappers would do endorsements for a liquor, or something. Where he's like, no, I have a partnership with this company that has this liquor. This is my of their brand, right? You know, and Memph Bleak is the CEO of his liquor faction or whatever you want to call it. So, you know, Bleak, which he always said, he could be one hit away his whole career. As long as I'm alive, he's a millionaire.
Exactly.
So he put him on. Emery got out of jail for doing what he did.
He gave him the
clothes and the merchandise.
Right, exactly.
You know, Tata's in there somewhere. He's had a security problem. But you know, so he put his boys on. He put you know, he got family in there, and you know, and we learned what he did for Lil Wayne. We learned what he did for Meek. And, you know,
and that's what I because I'm like, you know, everybody knows me, I'm a Super Bowl fan, and but that's what I love the most about what he's doing with this money,
right?
Or like, you know, in you know, the prison reform and you know what he's really trying to educate the people. I mean, the whole 444 was straight dropping gems to my people. Whether it was about being straight up in your relationship, or whether it's about how you know what you should use your money on, whether it's about realizing the reality of how you're looked at by white people, where we go wrong, and what we focus on and stuff like that. You know, is one thing. And what I like about that is the most is when you go back and they say, like, you know, these rappers, they rap about drugs, so they're teaching kids to, you know, to emulate them and do drugs, and not do drugs, and sell drugs, I should say. Well, now it's actually is to do drugs. That's what they do now. But you know, back then it was about selling, you know, selling drugs. But it's like, it's funny how they say that that's what the rappers do. So to watch him now say, nah, like, let me show y'all how to come up. Really, what it is, I think that's brilliant. But again, to your first point, yes, like, just to make it, we have to be twice as better to get where they get just off their privilege. Right. And that's not to say that there's no white people that work hard to do
no, of course.
They will. I mean, they do. But I mean, but truth be told,
right.
White person has a dream. Black person has the same dream. They both have the same capabilities. They show the same amount of potential. When they start that race, there's gonna be things, and you know, there's gonna be the black guy. It's gonna be 100-yard dash for the white guy, but the black guy's race is gonna have hurdles. So, and the thing is, sometimes the black guy wins, right? But that's just because he's so much better than the white. But then you look like. Exception is exception because it's rare. If everybody, if there was 1 million Jay-Z's, then we probably wouldn't be in this predicament that we are. You know, so you know, it's like, I don't think they mind a few slipping through the cracks. And
I mean, the funniest thing that I was thinking about when we were talking to was like, Jay-Z and Beyonce was courtside at the Golden State Warriors game. And the headline became, the owner's wife's trying to talk to him, and he's getting a drink or whatever.
Yeah.
But what happened later in that game? A minority owner hit Kyle Lowry, pushed him. And you know, so it's like, again, when they see us, what you think about it. But it's like, this dude fell 2 seats away from this guy. Yeah. He reaches over to push him. And pushes him. For what? And it's like, and again, I'm not going to call him an animal. I'm not going to call him any names or anything, but it was like uncalled for. I mean, I call him a name. But it was it was the weirdest thing that this man, who at first we thought it was just a fan, had good seats. Right. You later find out he's a minority owner, and they try to change the narrative. He's an investor. Yeah. You know, he's a minority owner of the team. He represents the team. Thank you. And he pushed and tried to, like, you know, and Kyle Lowry had the restraint to be like, because he could have went over. It could have been the Malice of the Palace again, and it could have been
that would never happen. These players. I'm not saying that because I don't put it past him. He could have done something to him, but it would have been no melee. These players ain't built like
somebody would have tried to pull them off before they would have been all going in.
And these players are not built like them dudes. But
it's becoming a thing now. You know.
Yeah, but Russell Westbrook, yeah.
And again, we got to remember who's in these seats. These seats are rich.
Because look, and that's why this is another reason why people talk about the money that these athletes make. And they make so much money overpaid. Nah, pay these. You don't understand. These people make $1 million. Y'all look at them like circus acts. It's like poking the bear. That's a man. You know what I'm saying? That's a grown man.
And specifically
he's at work.
They're so accessible. Hockey has a rink and his glass.
Right.
In baseball, you got your.
But my thing is, why are you infatuated with messing with him? You. So for Russ, it's people that are in the crowds yelling obscenities, whatever, and even in somebody's son,
right?
You know, and touch him or whatever. But like these dudes are like circus animals. Like these are people. So because of that, pay them all these millions of dollars. Because for one, they still. You look at the amount of money LeBron makes a year. It's still peanuts compared to the people that own the franchise that he plays for.
Right.
So y'all making all this money off these dudes' back. Y'all better compensate them. Y'all better compensate them. On top of that, now y'all got people, looking at them like they just want to touch them and scream and curse at them and they're supposed to just take it. They're at work.
Right.
Like when you go to work, you don't do what they do.
Right.
But like people, like if somebody was to just harass you at work, you'd have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
So now these people come, they're played to play basketball.
So the dude got a 1-year ban.
Yeah. He needs to get a permanent ban.
Which is it's kind of like a little suspension.
Now he needs to never be able to go to no NBA.
That's a ban.
And if you want to say he still owns the team, okay, whatever. He paid for it, right?
Right, he paid
for it. So
you
know what I'm saying? So but he shouldn't like that. You should never be able to go to Oregon when they make that new joint. And joint can't go in there. When he wants to watch the NBA, he needs to be in his crib at a sports bar or what. He should never be able to say, "Yo, I was at an NBA game."
Right. But
because what you put why? And my thing is, why'd you push him?
Right.
He didn't run into you.
Right. He was like 2 seats away.
And even if he ran into you, you paid for a seat that you know is here and the court is there.
Right.
And if you've ever watched a basketball game
right, and that's what I was saying before. Like with hockey, you have the glass.
Yeah.
Football, you have the wall up in a way.
Yeah.
Basketball, they're right there. Remember when Dennis Rodman fell on the cameraman and he kicked him, and the cameras are right there, so everybody's this is a line. Out of bounds, and then little space to inbound the ball. Like even
and when you buy courtside tickets, it's for that.
Yeah. Right, to get as close as possible.
Right. I mean, especially if you're not that's not why Jay-Z and them by him. They want to be seen. Right. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? But
somebody said he did the auntie wave when he was waving it for somebody.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And then Beyonce waved somebody, but he did do something like that. And then Beyonce wave, I'm like, who was he waving?
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But
wave.
The celebrities are there. The non-fan celebrities.
Right.
So not like Jack Nicholson and Spike Lee.
Right.
But the other ones, they're there because they want people to see that they were there.
Right.
But the people that are just regular Joes that happen to have a lot of money and they pay so that they can be right up on action. And they've seen games. They know players dive, lose balls. Right. You may end up with a play in your life.
Right.
If that's a part of buying the ticket.
Right. And it's funny because the person who Lowry actually landed on kind of like caught him. And as he's trying to help him get back up, that's when dude pushes him. And it was just awkward. And like I said, Lowry handled it very well.
Amazing.
He told the ref, he's like, yo, he
didn't even go toward the dude.
Right. Which again, lot of restraint.
Because my thing, I felt like I'm the type he has a lot to lose by doing that.
Yes.
But I feel like in this situation, I would have said something to him and approached him. I'm not saying I would have beat him up.
Right.
But I wouldn't have just went to the ref like he pushed me.
Because again, I doubt Lowry knew who he was because nobody really knew who he was in the
But my thing is, I wouldn't care who you was.
Right, no, yes, I'm saying, yeah. Because
I know I definitely would have went in his face and said something to him. Guaranteed certified. My first trip wouldn't have been to the ref saying like, yo, he pushed me or whatever. I would have been like, yo, what you doing or whatever. Again, I doubt I would have heard him and nothing like that. But it wouldn't have been, hey, look, Mr. Ralph, he punched me. Like it wouldn't have been that. But like to his credit, he did handle it.
Yes,
he had everybody. He even had the Warriors people playing saying like he did a great job. The way he handled it. But again, that dude should never be in an NBA arena again.
But all in all, like, so what do you think Jay's next move?
I don't know. Because he does everything. Like I mean. The only thing he doesn't
Does
really
he get a team? Do you think he get a team or something somewhere? Or
I don't think he wants to. For one, I think with teams it's hard now because of Rock Nation Sports. So like you know what I'm saying? Like matter of fact, that's why he even sold his stake in the Nets then. So I think owning and saying that's a huge conflict of interest. But I don't know. He does so many things. I think the thing that he hasn't really touched the most. I mean, he's been in movies, but like I would like to see like a black-owned, a Jay-Z owned movie production company, like you know what I'm saying. Where
well, they were saying when the Harvey Weinstein situation happened, they were saying he was going to take over. Cause I think he did the Khalif Browder story was under him, but they were going to do a Trayvon movie,
right?
And that's what Harvey was working on next. And when obviously Harvey had to step down from the Weinstein production, I think Jay was. And I don't know if he has Rock Films or something like that, but his company was supposed to be taking, and we really haven't heard much more from that. And and going back to your point too about Ava, he could put some money up to get her into some things that
way, and then she has the autonomy,
right?
You know, and that and that's what I would like to see. But I mean, he does have his hand in a lot of stuff that purely makes him money, a lot of stuff that helps people. You know, like he's doing. You know, a bit of everything. So, and like, you know, and on top of that, still to maintain, like, he's gonna turn 50.
Yes.
This year.
Yes.
And
Old
whatever, and
he still got hair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut your train of thought off, but when you said that, because I forgot that, he'll be 50.
Yeah.
And it's like his hair is growing.
Still.
His hair
like when he doesn't cut it just goes.
Right, because you know, a lot of people got them fake hair now, but his is growing. So unless he's adding pieces to, you know, but his hair is growing. So, but
and the funny thing is, he just started to
he used to keep it down.
Yeah, but
no facial hair.
But I'm saying within the past couple years to me, it's the first time he actually started to look like he had some age on him.
Yes.
Like he was on some like Pharrell vampire shit for quite some time. Yeah. But like you starting to see it on him a little bit now.
He looks like his mom. Yeah. He's looking like his mom a little bit.
But what I was saying about what I was leading into when I said he's 50 is, let's say we look at all these accomplishments and stuff like that. What other rapper that you know that if he was to release a song on his 50th birthday, that everybody running to go hear it?
That's true.
And I mean, he still right now has his hand like around hip hop, where he dropped something, it's selling, people are after it, like. Who else his age making records with, you know, LL make a record and people be like, okay.
Right.
You know, any these rappers that is around his age, it's like you that's a testament to how ill he is and like, you know, how he's been able to adapt to the times but still stay within who he is. There's a lot of people who performed in the music game from whatever genre, but as they got older, they tried to hold on to youth too long. Or you know what I'm saying? They tried.
And that's the thing, because he grew.
Yeah.
Like 50, for example, because 50 was like, oh, we don't want to hit 444. We let the kids have fun, yada yada.
Yeah.
But Jay was like, well, I'm not a kid.
Right, that's not my truth.
So
right,
let me talk to the kids.
Right, yeah.
Whoever listens is gonna listen.
Absolutely.
If the little pumps and the littles and whatever want to do, they're gonna do fine.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to my fan base, who is now grown as well, because remember, he was 26.
Yeah.
When Reasonable Doubt came
Exactly, right. He didn't start as young as again. And
he was already a grown man, kind of. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and even on Reasonable Doubt, he was saying some gems.
Yeah.
You know, so
even back then,
it's not far fetched. It's not like this is something new. Like oh, now all of a sudden Jay is conscious.
Yeah, right.
Like, no, he's always had a story
been,
to tell from the perspective of someone who was hustling.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's not new. And then his hustle became. He told us about the artwork. When he said, "I buy painting for $1 million. Now it's worth $2 million." And those aren't even great bars.
Right.
But he really did it. And he's also one of the, like, to speak to your point about if he released something, he's also like one of the few that when he says something, we believe him.
Exactly.
We know,
Yeah. It's not a shock value type thing. It's not.
Right.
It's not. Oh yeah, this is just maybe something you saw when his friends do.
Right. Like we were talking earlier about, like, Pusha T. Like he always talk about the drug game and stuff, but it's like, even like Drake called him out. He was like, "Oh, you got a couple chops. Now you think you're El Chapo."
Right. And then your brother really, your brother and your cousin really.
Right.
Was the,
But when we hear the stories with Jay, he shot his brother, and he did, and he explained the 92 bricks at the B-sides.
The second one.
Yeah, the B-sides too. He said the 92 bricks. He said they were only 1,000 per, so he was $92,000. He made it seem like it was still lightweight, but it's like, dude, any rap, and I've never been in a drug game but anybody lose 92 bricks of cocaine is not gonna live to tell that story.
Nah.
And even if they were 1,000 a pop, you had $92,000 to give back to the Connect to clear yourself, and it was before you gave him the money before he could even say I'm killing them. Like. So it's still a story,
right?
I might be one of the few that was because he mentioned it, and it was funny because somebody hit me up. He was talking to you, because that's always been the 92 brick thing was always something I held on to. Like how you lose 92 bricks and
you in one piece,
you still you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like this is, but he tells his life. 444 Lemonade for his wife. They were telling us there's what they went through. It was a reality show album, what I'm saying? Like they give us, so he's one of the few that when he does say stuff, we don't, it's hard to doubt it. We be like, sounds far-fetched, but it's Jay. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and then you feel like even B, like the Coachella joint that they put on Netflix, instead of her getting paid for the show, she owned the rights to the video so she could make it a Netflix special.
Because she knew she was going to make more bread off that.
You know what I mean?
I'd be like, y'all got to pay me for this. I'm about to take this. Just give me the rights.
Right.
I'm going to take this and turn this into
something
right,
more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now she got a Netflix deal that they're going to release another video, another thing on there later. So that might come next year. Yeah, something else is coming. It was like a 2-thing deal. So they got the Coachella joint. Who knows what else? The other one could be a something new she do.
Right.
But just think about that Coachella performance. She owned the rights to it. So they put the video on Netflix and the audio Untitled.
Right.
It's like an album. It's a
Netflix.
movie and an album. You know what I'm saying? So from just when so Coachella payment could be whatever. Here's your check. Performer, thank you for blessing the stage.
Right.
We're done with business.
Right.
No, she was like, I need this footage. I'm also documenting the performance.
So y'all don't gotta pay me to sing and stuff.
Right.
But this, I own that.
And she did the same with Uber. She owned equity, so when they went public, she got the money too. So they mentioned, like you said, Jay got such and such from Uber. She got a separate thing too. I don't think that was the same amount.
Right.
So again, like I said, dual income.
They said she worth like 335.
She's up there too.
Million. Like
she up there too, and she's making deals too. Granted, it might be his influence, what have you, but hey.
Whatever.
I got a wife that's moving like I'm moving out here. She getting equity in companies. Yeah. She getting the rights to her masters of video and media for whatever she want to do with it. So that's a power couple.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like the people, the plug and the scammer, the stripper, the bartender. No. Jay-Z and Beyonce. That's a power couple.
The scammer and the stripper.
That's people, it's like the thing. Because he a scammer and she a bottle girl at the club, and goals. Now, J and B, that's goals. Right?
I don't even like that word.
What goals?
Relationship.
Goals.
But the way you're using it and the way we use it, then I see.
Yeah.
But nobody else's relationship should be goals.
No, for sure.
But as far as what you can say though is what you said. They set a good example of of ownership and really maximizing what they have to offer and what their brand is.
Yeah, because they know like owning it, like their name. Yeah, she did Coachella. But it's like it would have been just a Coachella performance.
Right.
She turned it into a documentary about her coming back from after the babies, and getting her body back. And this was her first performance since that. So it became a whole story.
And this also now became the biggest thing that happened to Coachella.
Right.
So, because Coachella's been going on for mad years.
Yes, that's true too.
But there's nobody's performance has ever been talked about.
I know women
and it won't be going forward.
I know girls that watches it, practice it, studies it. Like, I'm gonna do the dance steps, listen to the music. Like I was saying, my cousin had a party. We was in the park. She playing the songs, and I'm like, That's something. But it's the live. I think it's the live version of something.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that was the. She's like, that's the Coachella performance. I'm like, it's on it's streaming too. So you got the music. You can listen to the live versions.
I mean, you know, people are different levels of fans.
Yeah,
So, you know, now I love Beyonce.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I've loved Beyonce's music all that. As much as I got all the Jay's album, I want to be I know words to everything. Right. I'm not part of the Beehive. I'm not part of the Beehive.
Okay.
Because I don't be coming after people who say things about Beyonce, like you know, like they went after Shorty.
Right, when she was like, yo, she had to cancel her social media because they were saying,
like yo,
they giving suicide threats and they
yeah. But no, I'm a fan. I done went to Beyonce shows and all that stuff. But so I wasn't surprised when I seen on Tidal that they have that, you know, the whole the whole performance broken down in that, and then you see how just like that Before I Let Go became a challenge. Now people doing dances to it, whatever. And you know, hopefully, obviously, Frankie Beverly had to get some change off that.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? But
I hope so.
Yeah, I
hope so.
right. But still, you know, it is. They both are setting a great example of how to own, like I said, to own things and to maximize their potential. But I mean, you know, he's 50, so but I don't see him stopping. You know, conquering anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So and also he's setting a great example for his children too.
Yes.
So you know, they're all still pretty little, but
Blue's now like 7, 8? Is she even 10?
I don't think she's 10.
She's like 7, 8.
Yeah, I don't think 10 years. I don't think she was.
I don't know.
Now you
I would say around
maybe want to Google
like
it.
7 or 8 years old, something like that.
And you know they just got the twins.
And she's got her own identity and stuff. Like
Absolutely.
She's a little woman herself. Like she got some bars. We heard her.
Yeah.
We heard her freestyle 444. You know, like we heard that. You know, she be dancing and stuff too. We seen, you know, so. She's got her. She's her own little person. And when you got two people like, you know, obviously Beyonce is a great performer. Some people put up to, you know, one of the best performers. And Jay is more laid back, smooth, charismatic. But he's sharp. You know, like we seen in interviews where he can come back quick, or he's, you know, and obviously he freestyled a lot of his rhyme stuff that he reminds us of often. So his mind, it works fast. So you just want to see what the kids are going to become. Absolutely. You know, from
I would love. I wonder what their, you know, from the way they seem that their parents are, whatever their interests are, I'm sure are going to be fed. So you know, let's say maybe they're not. My thing is, there's 3 of them. At least one of the 3 are gonna try to go into music. I'm almost sure. Like,
I mean, like I said, Blue already showed us she writing.
Yeah, Blue can't rap.
She had the verse of the year, dog. She had the verse of the year. She said, "I've never seen a seal in my whole life." That's metaphors.
Like,
entendres.
Like, I know they not trying to have me believe she wrote that line. Never seen a seal in my whole
life.
That sounds like something Apostle say.
Triple entendre. Don't even ask me how. Okay.
Yeah,
she had the flow. Like, even if let's say he wrote, she had the flow. Like, imagine a kid like having a flow.
Nah, but her flow was right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she was riding the beat. Like, it's impressive. She go that route. Listen,
I'm almost fine. I don't know. I think I've seen it said that child was born in 2012.
2012.
So I'm like, yo, she's no, that would make her 7. Yeah. So I mean, and then the other one, what they should be like 2 now or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So I'm interested to see like what they become or what their paths are, because they have, you know, they're obviously 2 creative and ambitious parents. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for Jay. Like, I mean, and again, especially too, because what he does. So like, a lot of people like make money and they just make their money and they live.
Stay away and be just isolated. Yeah.
You know, as much as I'm not sure if everybody knows all of Michael Jordan's things that he does, but he has a huge perception of someone who hasn't really done anything for you know, for
and
people.
It's just he's
not really publicized,
and because it's like he's not a part of the community, so to speak. Like Jay does the rock brunch. and you see a lot of hip hop there.
Yeah.
Jay doesn't do like a brunch for all basketball players,
Right, exactly,
or
yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So he's definitely an isolated
That's
person.
true.
So,
Even since he retired, it's funny. You always see, and again, maybe because his focus on other things. 'Cause, you know, he had his steakhouses and all his businesses and stuff like that. Whereas a lot of NBA players, they do stay close to the family, whether it's
because we know he does go to the practices, like the Hornets players say he does go talks to them. So he does like a mentoring kind of thing. So, but he probably keeps it exclusive to his team. He ain't trying to get the gems to the other opponents. But they do see him. He does come through, and he sits right there. Like the end of the bench too, so he's right there during like they can hear him yelling out and during timeouts and stuff like that.
But he definitely doesn't do what a lot of other basketball legends do, or just ex players. Period. They still surround themselves or connect themselves to the NBA family. So whereas like you'll never see him, like he'd never come to inside the NBA or
he went
you know
strictly the business route.
Right.
He's like, I'm a businessman. I own stuff. I own a team.
Right.
So I'm not gonna do and that might be, because Magic tried to play both sides kind of too. So he and that's why I feel like Magic left it because he's like, I'm too rich to be dealing with this. Like, why I'm gonna deal with Pelinka sending emails and I'm rich.
That's a whole mess.
I don't need this paycheck. Like I own Starbucks and movie theaters and you know what I'm saying.
So, all that stuff.
Right. So I feel like Magic tried to do both because granted he can go to First Take and Inside the NBA and stuff like that. But working within it's like you bigger than that.
Right.
You don't need to deal with like a job.
I think it's cool for him to do that, but he needs to be able to do it on his terms.
Right.
So,
and that's what I'm saying. It's a job. You have an employer. You're an owner.
Yeah.
You're a businessman, but then you have an employer. And it's like, dude, like, why would you want to deal with office politics of emails and what we call water cooler talk or he say she say I'm beyond this. I'm an owner myself. I'm a boss myself.
Yeah.
I don't. And that's what he said. He was like a lot. He was like people question his work ethic.
Right. And I think that's why he said when I took the job, I said I need to be able to do this. And other people will be like, look, okay, I got this job, so what you need me to do?
Right.
It's like, okay, well,
and that's
cool. I'll do this, but you gotta let me do this.
Right.
This, that, and that. And then they told him,
right.
And then it ended up not.
And that's why I say, like, Mike probably was just on some, listen, I'm a businessman.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just be, because maybe he owned the Wizards first.
Yeah.
And then he lost that to go play again. Then he's like, all right, let me chill. And then ever since then, he's like, I'm just gonna be Brand Jordan. Then he got the ownership of the Bobcats when Bob Johnson hooked him up.
But I think because he's less visible,
the perception.
The perception of it, and then like again, a lot of stuff that he may do isn't publicized. So he's always had this, he don't do nothing for people type of stigma on him,
and it's understandable.
Yeah.
It's definitely understandable. And because even Jay, a lot of stuff that Jay did, he didn't tell us. Like, we didn't know about, Meek and Wayne told us, that he gave him paid lawyer fees, donated some stuff, and it's just like, we wouldn't have known if, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, he did tell us before, back in 9/11, he said he donated some money and stuff like that. He did the proceeds for his concerts and stuff like that. But, at the stage he's in now, a lot of stuff we wouldn't have known he did. But, and like I said, to the brunches, he every year that brunch is kind of like a thing. It's Grammy weekend, and it's like, but come here, screw the Grammys,
right?
And he get Fat Joe be there, Jim Jones, Fab, and so it's hip hop. It's a hip hop community thing, and it's big, and he's become like and it's him and Diddy kind of like side by side.
I think that brunch is important because it's like, look, like, this is, because remember what they said hip hop was gonna be. They said, this is cute, and this will last for a couple years, and then we'll get back to the real music or whatever the case may be. Right. But now, like, they get, they have this brunch. These people that are legends in this game or key players in the game, and it's like, look at what we're doing with this hip hop. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And it's older guys. A lot of them have ownership of things. Something more to show than I'm just a musician. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's big about it too. And going back to like what we said about 50. He is a contradiction because he should be a part of that, right? But him saying, well, the music is still is a kid's game, and it's like, we got to get past that and stop pushing our older guys out, especially when they got something to say still, like a Jay.
Yeah.
The 444s and stuff is important.
Yes, it is.
Because one, we grew up with that, and it's also dropping gems to, like, people our age have kids.
And don't get it twisted. I don't think Jay-Z, as much as he knows his music is going to perform well, I'm sure he knows that there's going to be, especially a large percentage of the youth who are not jumping to hear that.
Right.
Especially with what they're saturated with. Yeah,
Right.
when you hear that.
And it should be a place for both.
Right.
We shouldn't just say, nah, he's too old now.
Right. So he knows. But I think Jay says, you know what? Whoever's gonna listen is gonna listen. And I feel for me, it's my duty to educate and to put these people on. It's stick to who it stick to.
Right.
I'm not gonna not do it just because I don't think anyone's
I'm
gonna.
too old.
Right. Right.
It's a kid's game.
Right. So that's why. Yeah. I don't think 50 should have. I mean, at the end of the day, if you think it's good, it's good. Like, Don't be like, oh, we don't want to hear. They're not trying to hear that. Whoever's not trying to hear it, whoever. Then if they we have to they'll have to learn these lessons another way. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, salute that it's available. You know what I'm saying? Salute that word is getting out.
Right. So, and also salute to Jay. Big accomplishment, big deal. That's why I'm doing mention. That's definitely a big deal. I mean, when you put the B on your name, you got a billionaire. And he's been talking about it. Speaking it into existence, I'm
not a businessman. I'm a
business.
Yeah.
He said, I'm on a race to a Billy. Got my knees to the ceiling. How the ball going? But congratulations to him. Salute to Ava DuVernay for presenting the story of when they see us. Salute to Jay for making them see us differently. Eventually they will, but being another example of what we can be if we're not stripped of our youth and and get a chance to become something more, because he was one way at one point, did some things in his life and turned his life
did
around.
Some things where he could have, and because he had certain support of certain people, things didn't go that way.
Support systems are very big as well.
And what he did is he rewarded those people.
Yes,
because Emery could have jammed them up. Emery could have,
and he mentions that too. Emery never told.
Yeah,
and he even had the phone conversation with Emery on the Kingdom Come album when he talked to him. He and we know Emery because he told us about Emery. We knew Tata. We know these people and stuff. And he said about Bleak.
Yeah,
Bleak was a kid in the building, but he saw something in Bleak and kept. And he was straight. And Bleak was like, listen. Oh, they don't like your albums. All right, but you're gonna be good though. You want to rap? You want to rap still? You don't have to. But listen, I got these liquors. I got Duce. I got the Ace of Spades.
And Bleak was good. I saw him in an interview. He's chilling, bro.
His name on Instagram was like CEO Memphis Bleak or something like that. He's a boss. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Jay kept his promise. As long as I'm alive, he's a millionaire, and he is. Yeah. He made a song and and he's not trying to. Nah. He even tried to do the label thing. He had he had a couple artists. He was doing, I forgot what the name of the label was, but he tried to, Bleak was doing that, but then he realized
I need to do this.
Because the music game wasn't, and if you notice, a lot of the guys that are successful from new hip hop, it's not because of the music. The music puts their name up there, and it builds a brand.
Absolutely.
But Dre, Beats by Dre. You think Diddy, you think of Ciroc and Revolt and things like that. Shawn. With Jay, you think of Tidal now and Duce and so much more.
Yeah, the music is what gets them in the door. Right. And it's like what you do with it at that point. And that's where they get their props. Right. Because a lot of people got deals and became big, but now you here and the world's in front of you. What do you do?
What do you do with it? Yeah. And that speaks to, like we were saying too, about coming home from jail and things like that, and the opportunities that are presented. And something can be said like for lotto winners, the percentage of lotto winners that lose the money. When you're presented with a chance, you can go certain directions and things, and it's just there's so many factors, like you said, support systems and opportunity and your work ethic and your drive and so much that can happen. So life is is funny that way. You just never know what could happen. But bro, always a pleasure.
Like that, bro.
You know what I mean? Everybody watching, the rules. Comment, like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. Watch, when they see us. Stream some Jay-Z music.
I suggest Reasonable Doubt.
He gonna suggest them all.
Yeah, I mean none of them are bad, but,
right.
but if you don't got time, you want to focus on a few. Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album, 444.
And we were both saying Tidal's like our only subscription service that we really, people that know me know.
By the way, you don't have many choices. It's Tidal and it's Apple Music.
Right.
So, I mean,
and people that know me know I didn't really buy a lot of music. I got it other ways. But I subscribe to Tidal.
Y'all definitely know that about me.
And that's not even an ad.
Other ways of getting things.
But Jay holla at me if you know what I mean.
I actually purchased every single Jay-Z CD though.
Oh no, I don't. I think I've only purchased. I think Blueprint.
Oh, okay. No,
I did purchase 444, so that was recent.
Right.
But I think the only one
But I mean, I even bought physical CD of 444.
I can tell you, I've only purchased. So I had ODB's album on a cassette. It was a gift to me. I bought the CD.
Okay.
I bought Big Pun's Yeah Baby.
Really? I
bought DMX's Dark as Hell is Hot.
I bought that.
I bought Slaughterhouse.
Okay. I've never bought a
I bought their album. Lawrence actually run me up for that because he always get on me about not buying. I was like I'll buy that album. That's what it was. It was one of those like, all right, fine, I'll buy this.
Right.
So we actually went to the store and I bought it. Shout out to Lawrence. It's a handful. I subscribe to Tidal because now everything is digital and streaming. So the download game is a little different. Salute the Napster. We need to bring some kind of a Napster back to get these streaming. But I digress. But I have a Tidal subscription. Play everything. But forget about all that. You're on YouTube right now watching this. So subscribe to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you plugged you first.
Anyway. Yeah, you're right. But just in case y'all forgot, me, the 2021 Vision. Yeah. Across all social media.
Then Tidal. But first, 2021 Vision.
Unless Jay, you want to holler at me and get me on Tidal.
Woo!
That would be dope.
Cha-ching.
You know what I mean? We can make that happen. But on that note, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. Share it. Tell your friends about it. Let them know what's going on. Also, hit subscribe and the bell to be notified when new content is loaded, because there's much, much more to come.